Pictured here is Borshch, a Russian soup that is spelled something like this. I cooked this beauty using mostly ingredients from the bin, like I do pretty much every meal. My friends have been joking for a while now that I will start a food blog with garbage recipes one day. I was adamant it would never come to this.
Well, guess what?
When I go rescue food, I have to get up a bit earlier than I normally would, which means before noon. How to get up before noon includes preparing the coffee maker the night before, so basically after I wake up I just have to press play. I have no idea what the story behind this cup is. It just appeared in our kitchen one day and stayed behind even after I had exchanged pretty much all my roommates. Every time someone moved out, it got left behind. No surprise though, because it kind of looks like a Bertha thing, to be honest. Oh yeah, back to the video. Now that I was awake, I got some crates and a cargo bike, and I combined the two by putting the crates on the cargo bike. Then I rode over to the supermarket, where I don't think I'm supposed to film, to be honest. The supermarket employees handed me discarded food, mostly bread, fruit and vegetables. I threw away the really moldy ones. Then I rode home, where I was shared between about 20 people. So the first thing I cooked was a simple tomato sauce. I put the tomatoes in a pot and I put the pot on low heat. I don't know why I'm only showing you 3 tomatoes, because it was more like 7 or 8, but I suppose this looked better. I don't know what I was thinking. I looked out the windows and contemplated cleaning them, a thing that I had done exactly twice in my entire adult life, so who am I kidding? Instead, I soaked some kidney beans and more mushrooms. I washed some veggies and used the dirty water to water my plants. That made me remember the sad looking sprouts from today's haul, and I watered them as well. I was gonna make some vegetable stock and wanted a fresh bay leaf in the stock, so I tried to film myself cutting one from that little shrub in the windowsill, but it turns out using both hands while filming is really hard. My stock included leafy greens and vegetable peels, including beetroot peels, which were already turning the water red, as you can see in the shot. When making stock, you might not want this for aesthetic reasons, so keep away from beetroot, but in this case I don't care because we're making borscht. Oh yeah, I already told you, so this is not a surprise. Let's take a moment to marvel at how burnt this pot is. Since I had lots of lettuce and grapes, I made a fruity salad, only adding salt and a quarter of an onion. Oh yeah, great, yet another thing that I am unable to do one-handed. I can already see you typing a comment that I need to buy a tripod. Well, as you can see, I already own one, it's right there, but the thing keeps tipping over. I had like a handful of green beans. I didn't yet know what to do with them, so I decided to use the steam that the stock was producing to steam them and then think about it some more. Then I went and made a garlic vinaigrette. How come I can film both hands at once all of a sudden? I'm holding the camera between my knees, of course. Here I'm thoroughly checking if the garlic is moldy, as they often are, but this one was still pretty good. Sweet. Besides garlic, the ingredients were mustard, sugar, salt, and oil. In the meantime, the green beans were done. There was also an avocado in the rescued food pile, but it had mold inside, as they usually do by the time we get them. It's really depressing when you think about how damaging the monoculture of those trees is to the environment, the local food security, and water levels. And then they get shipped all over here, half a world away, in a crude oil burning vessel, and then they get moldy and I throw them away. I did keep the pit, however, and decided to try and grow a tree. For that I needed a little bit of soil, so I had to go outside to get some dirt. And then I thought, since I'm already going outside, I might as well water the crops that I had secretly planted in the local park. So I took some water. I really hope the pumpkin grows to maturity. Other more likely outcomes would be it getting mowed over by my sworn enemy, the parks department, or someone just destroying it for no reason at all. Oh, nice. The pumpkin has developed another fruit. Don't you dare, parks department. Editor here. By the time I finish this video, it has happened. I found my pumpkin lying next to where I planted it, ripped out, including the roots. So this experiment has failed. But I planted more than that one. Let's see how that goes. I looked around for a place where I could dig up some soil, but ever since the plague hit, the park has become a bit of a festival grounds, and I think this particular area gets peed on a lot, so I kept walking. I found this neat looking t-shirt and I almost took it, but then I remembered that I was just so disgusted that I wouldn't take the pea soil, so why would I take a suspiciously stained t-shirt? I found some hopefully less peed on soil and returned home, receiving an ominous message on the way back. So I put the soil in a pot and buried the pit about 2/3 deep, pointy side on top. Watered it without putting something underneath. I should have put something underneath. Then I stretched a transparent plastic bag over the pot to make like a little greenhouse. Then I had to clean up my mess. By this time the mushrooms were rehydrated and I put them on the stove to cook. Speaking of rehydrating, I soaked 2 bars of glass noodles in cold water. What's with all the soaking, and why glass noodles of all things? This does not look like a traditional Russian recipe. Well, the Borshch is actually for tomorrow. I just like to cook soups and sauces a day in advance to give it more time to blend the flavors. And today we're having summer rolls. But back to the Borshch real quick. These were the main ingredients, including potatoes from last week's haul. Oh yeah, also the rest of that onion from the salad, the one that I was unable to tip into the bowl. I'm saving the rubber band from the bundle of dill over here in my rubber band collection. This will come in handy one day. Thanks to filming, I actually chopped all the veggies before I got started on the soup. This is the part that I most often mess up because I will just start cooking with only half the ingredients cut or none at all, thinking I could just kind of wing it and keep chopping things while I brown the onions or something, but then I inevitably run out of time and shit gets burned. Thanks to filming, I had a strong desire to appear to be a responsible adult, thus managed to mise en place for once. I was so in awe with my prepping that I wanted to do the same thing with the herbs. So here's some footage of me clumsily cutting herbs with one hand. The entire ordeal went on for so long that the avocado pit had grown into a tree by now. Then I browned the onions and added a bit of tomato paste that I had still lying around open in the fridge. I strained the stock, which looked like liver damage, added salt, carrots, and more salt. Once I deemed it sufficiently browned, I deglazed everything using white wine, added about half of the self-made tomato sauce. The other half I ate with pasta, which I'm not gonna show you because it barely counts as cooking. It's just cooking pasta and dumping sauce over it. You know how to do that, or maybe you don't. In that case, I'll show you in another video. By now the beans were hydrated and so were the glass noodles, so I put the beans on the stove to cook separately from the soup. I don't know if this is actually necessary or just superstition, but that's how I learned it. You have to cook beans separately, or at least unsalted, so that's what I did. Kidney beans are a bit of an unorthodox Borshch ingredient, as are glass noodles, but I like to add some protein to my vegan soups because otherwise I would just not get full. I rinsed the noodles with boiling water, but I kept the water, this is important. Then I cut everything else that goes in the summer rolls into summer roll appropriate shapes. And once again cut fresh herbs from my window garden, this time Thai basil and Vietnamese coriander. Oh look, I have revived the sprouts. I am the goddess of nature, the bringer of life. Anyway, summer rolls. My dip contains sugar, rice vinegar, chilies and soy sauce. Normally you would cook the chilies, but let's not talk about that. You put everything you'll need right in front of you. Dip, noodles, rice paper, vegetables, and warm water. That was the hot water from earlier, that's why I kept it. Also an empty plate. You dip a sheet of rice paper in the water and put it on the plate. Then put the filling on top. And here you can see me struggling with another set of complex movements while trying to hold the camera. There, summer roll. Now you just have to dip it and take a bite, which I'm not gonna show you because I'm still holding the camera with my knees. These were some pickles, also rescued but not today. I cut them and put them in the soup as well. Then I just had to wait for a couple of hours because it just tastes better the next day. You can use those 5 to 8 hours to do whatever, sleep, take a walk, or just go to the basement and wait. After I was done waiting, I put the borscht on a plate because presentation matters. Traditionally, you put a spoonful of white stuff on top and then top the white stuff with green stuff. I had this vegan cream in the fridge, but normally I will use coconut milk or just nothing at all. I was gonna end this video with an outro where I listed all the ingredients that were rescued and compared it to the ones that were bought or homegrown, but I have the noisiest neighbors and they were having a party. So I couldn't get a decent audio, so I guess I have to do it as a voiceover again, or just read. You can read.